Yeah.
Richard Boyd Barrett. Thank you, Deputy.
Yeah, I'm worried about this legislation, to be honest. And what it's really sort of going to achieve, or what it's trying to achieve. I mean, in theory, the principle of having, proper grievance procedures, having a charter for parents and students, having proper information that's available about how the school operates and so on, about its funding, where the funding goes. These are all, in principle, not bad ideas. But I worry about, essentially, this lets the government off the hook, and it puts the focus as an internal focus, where the school board and the school staff get held responsible for failings which are actually the failings of the government. If you were to ask, I suspect, school communities, parents or teachers, or most importantly, children and pupils, what their list of priorities were, and what rights they would like to have in terms of their education, I strongly suspect the sort of rights which are not going to be in this charter, because they're actually the responsibility of government, would be the things they'd be asking for. They'd be asking for the right to be in class sizes that are not the highest anywhere in Europe, where actually the quality of education is seriously undermined by excessive class sizes. I think they would certainly be asking about the right to have a proper school building, not to be in a temporary building for years and years and years. I think they would ask about the right to proper equipment, computer equipment, other equipment and facilities in their school as a matter of right. I think they would ask for proper sports and recreation facilities, sports halls and amenities. I think they would ask for the right to services where they need them. I think they would ask for the right to the SNAs that they need, and the special education resources they need. I think they might ask for the right to a properly ventilated classroom. I think they might ask for the right of teachers to have funded professional development to deal with things like special education need and emotional behaviours. I think they might ask for the right to have hot school meals. I think they might ask for the right to have free school transport and to have free school books. I think they might ask for the right not to have to fundraise in order to pay for basic things within the school, or be forced to make voluntary contributions to provide those things and spend huge amounts of time fundraising for things that in fact should be funded by the Department of Education and the government. I think they might ask for the right not to have religious patron bodies sell off their school facilities while the department washes its hands and says it's nothing to do with us, because even though we fund this school, apparently a religious school patron body can just sell off your sports facilities, as they have done in Clonkeen Secondary School. I think they might ask for the right not to be put through an extremely archaic and stressful exam system such as a Leaving Cert, which dictates to a very substantial amount their life chances, their life opportunities and their life choices, and that puts extraordinary stress on students, parents and so on, that is absolutely unnecessary, archaic, and frankly should be done away with, because it is in fact simply a way of gatekeeping access to higher and further education, which should be a right in itself. Those are some of the rights I suspect people would ask for, and they are all things that the government, the minister, should be obliged to meet. That's what the Charter should include. So I'm not saying these other matters are matters of inconsequence that are in this bill, but frankly all the focus goes on internal holding responsibility for structures that already exist. I mean, the issue of grievance procedures, complaints against teachers, that's what the Teaching Council is for. We already have school boards, we have parents-teacher associations and so on. And most, even as a government deputy said there, most schools are doing the things that this bill is requiring them to do anyway. Okay, so the problem is not teachers. By and large, we have absolutely fantastic teachers. It's not school staff or school secretaries, indeed, who were mentioned earlier on, rightly, because of course the ability of a school to deliver on many things internal to parents and teachers depend on school secretaries, many of whom have to sign on the dole during the summer because the government won't give them proper contracts of employment. So I worry about where this is going. And certainly talking to a number of teachers, they are concerned, and this is hence where I suspect Deputy Gannon's reference to neoliberal models and so on, and even Deputy O'Cossig is alluding to it when he talks about performance. The big concern here has to be that because it's taking responsibility off the obligations that the Department of Education, the Minister and the Government should have to school students, to school children, and putting it internally in terms of internal structures with the school and demands that the Minister might put on the school, that you end up precisely in this league tables situation. So that would be a very significant concern that encourages competition and performance targets for schools, pits schools against one another in terms of the meeting of these targets, and inevitably, if it pushes education in that direction, as it has done in England, where similar charters were set up, very much a Tory neoliberal idea of pitting schools against one another in a competitive process. Who are the ones that lose out? The ones that are lose out inevitably, invariably, as they always do, are schools in more disadvantaged areas for families who have less income and so on, and are less able to sort of meet the demands or the targets that are set in these charters that they're obliged to meet, but don't actually have the resources to meet and are not given the resources by central government. So we are concerned about this, what the logic is behind it, or where the logic leads, and we think the government should be far more focusing on actually giving people the right to a high quality education, where we have minimum standards in terms of class sizes which are substantially smaller than the ones we now have, where we have quality school buildings, where we don't have the shocking situation that certainly persists for many of the schools in my area, and I'll just, in my last minute or so, mention some of these. I mean, we have this system where it is recognised that an area needs a certain amount of schools. There's a democratic process where people decide what patron body will they have. Will it be Educate Together? Will it be a Gael school? Will it be another patron body? The school is recognised, but then school after school after school in my area, they don't know where the school is physically going to be. In some cases...
Thank you, Deputy. Sorry. Thank you very much. Sorry now. We have to adjourn.